Hi, this is Leonora. Today, I want to talk a little bit about expanding conscious awareness. Firstly, what do I mean by that, and why would you want to do it? So, normally when we meditate or we live in our life, we kind of usually perceive the world through our head, and energetically, it has a location within the field of awareness. So, when we are perceiving through the head, for example, if I'm looking at my body, then there is a split. There's kind of a me looking at me, like there's two of me, the looker and what I'm looking at. So perception, which usually is oriented in the head, but not always, is looking through a filter, and this filter was created usually in adversity. It's created through the journey of life. It's created through our survival instincts of what's safe and what's not safe. It's created through our culture, our cultural influences and our ancestral influences, our family influences. It's created through the epigenetic of what we've lived through and experienced, what's overwhelmed us, what's traumatized us, adversity. And as a result, we've ended up with a series of beliefs, ideas, concepts, and we are looking through those. And that is actually not just shaping, but also can be creating what we experience. So when it comes to healing, removing this filter and seeing clearly is very, very fundamental. So there's actually many, many levels to that, and there's many layers, but I find what's really valuable to start with is just to explore and experiment with moving and reorienting how we perceive. And what I invite you to do, or to try, I would love to hear back from you if you do try, is for you to expand your connection of self to the whole field of you. So instead of feeling or looking through the head, is actually rather feeling the felt sense of the wholeness of your field. So, and this is it can be different and different sizes on different days and in different meditations, but there's kind of a easeful naturalness to what you end up in. You're not finding your field or looking for your field or creating your field. Rather, you're just sensing into whatever's there. And I like to call it a bubble, but it's a field of awareness. It would include your body. It might expand beyond your body. It might have an edge or be diffuse. It might be small or it might be very big. It doesn't really matter its size, just that you sense what feels like you, me. What does it feel like, my field? And this is a sort of head to toe, back to front, side to side experience. It's an experience of sovereignty. And as you inhabit fully all the spaces within that field, your awareness has expanded. So instead of being in the head, in a sort of small location, perceiving from that location in separation from the body, you've done kind of two things. You've expanded your state of awareness to be aware of the whole as the whole, rather than separate from the whole. The other thing that happens, if we go back to this belly pain example, when I'm in my head looking through my filter at my belly pain, I'm probably not aware of the effect that having that location and that filter is creating on the belly. So there's a relational dynamic between the perceiver and what it's perceiving. There's also a relational dynamic between the perceiver and the whole, and between the experience that you're having and the whole. And so what I discovered is that if you anchor into the whole, one of the things that happens here is that your sense of self expands out of the little kind of controlling me with all my knowledge and knowing and beliefs to a more open, available, receptive, anchored, sovereign kind of quality. And this is incredibly valuable because as you expand, you're putting kind of a space element into the vibration. You're giving it space, and when you give something space, the intensity of looking at it and creating it unconsciously diminishes. So the pain level is likely to diminish. When you become bigger, the pain becomes smaller. The other thing that's happening is instead of you being separate from your pain, perceiver, separate, looking at an experience, you move into a state where the perceiver and the experience are occupying the same space. And when you do that, there's an ownership that kind of goes with it. And it's ownership, which is love. It's connection, which is love. It's the willingness to be me, which is actually being oriented toward. So when you own something, it's love. And when you love something, there's a natural alchemy of healing, which happens of its own accord. So there's incredible value in expanding your awareness, or the expanding into the bubble of you, as I like to say. Yeah, so when we're looking at relativity, which is in this dimension of Earth School, when we're here, you know, the sense of separation is creating the relativity. And what creates relativity is also time. And relativity is all about relationship, the relationship between my mind and body, the relationship between me and other, the relationship between this event and that event, the relationship between me and my partner, or between me and my job, or between me and my cat. It's all relational. And so with the exploration at this level of relativity, what we're looking for is understanding both the perceiver, the experience, and the relationship between. So expanding conscious awareness is putting you in a field where all of that is happening. So I can notice that the pain level in my belly diminishes. That teaches me something. That teaches me that when I'm fully here for all of me, that there's a space for the part of me that hurts and the one who's creating the pain to be here within me. It's an ownership, and ownership is love. So expanding conscious awareness is a very powerful process and method to use. And it also starts to integrate your sense of self. So it moves your sense of self from a little me, very separate and identified, to a bigger, more whole me, yeah, that has more space and more capacity. The other thing that happens, which is incredibly valuable when you meditate, you know, many people are struggling in their meditation with a busy mind, or, you know, with resistance, with distractions, with, you know, a whole myriad of things that are going on. And a lot of that struggle is because their brain waves are in potentially more of a beta state, which is the waking state. And they are oriented from the meditator. So, you know, what we're doing here is moving beyond the meditator and into a natural healing alchemy of expansion of your field. When you expand your field, you move more into what might be called a trance state. And this state generally has a very quiet mind. And so you might find your mind quietened down. And, you know, it might be that you move into alpha, theta, or even delta And it's a practice as to how deep you can go. There's more things that you can do to go deeper, but it's going to happen in grace as you develop the capacity. Every time you do this type of practice, you are evolving your nervous system, you're evolving your whole body-mind system to become more sovereign and more resilient. So I invite you to give that a try, and please post in the comments how that worked for you, if it worked for you or if it didn't, and what you found. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.